And auto shut off. All right. This is kind of a 2-for-1, but the main point of this video is to talk about connecting your airbrush to a compressor. I guess we can do a quick review of the Campbell Hausfeld compressor that you're looking at right here. Let me shut it off. We don't need to fill it back up. So this is an auto lubricating 1 gallon, 125 PSI compressor with a little air regulator on it. It feels like plastic, but you never really know. So some quick thoughts about the compressor, things you need to know. Real quick, I mean, some of you bought this Black Friday, $35. You know what I'm talking about at Walmart. However, I think normally it sells for $55. Will this work as an airbrush compressor? The answer is yes. I'll show you how we connect it. Now, as far as everything else, I wouldn't really use this. I have access to large compressors that aren't obviously as portable, that will do the job for pneumatic tools or whatever else you're going to be using. So let's talk about this. The first thing you want to do is read the manual. Because it's auto lubricating, you need to run it for 5 minutes with no pressure. So obviously you're going to close your air regulator, so it just lets all the air out in the world, okay? So it just runs with no pressure on it for 5 minutes for the auto lubricating system. Now, any auto lubricating system is a temporary thing, okay? So be aware of that. This is a disposable air compressor, depending how much you use it. If you even break it in the first place, it's going to last, it's going to have a limited life. I would say 2 years is pushing the limits of what this is going to be used, or the length of use for something like this, if you use it regularly. Every time I use it, I always drain it, let all the pressure out, and store it empty, because it's just a little compressor that I use exclusively for airbrushing. You saw the noise. That's another complaint. The high was 98, but average was probably closer to 94 decibels. And like you could see on my iPhone, maybe not the best decibelometer, it's pushing that loud food blender decibels, right? So I always wear earplugs. When this thing kicks on, when you're airbrushing, it's like really quiet, tranquil, detailed work to a bomb going off. That's the comparison I would make. It's pretty loud and it can startle you. This particular one comes with the regulator. I know Campbell Hausfeld makes another little 1 gallon compressor that doesn't have the regulator. If you're going to airbrush, you really want that regulator. What that means is you can turn this dial to allow a certain amount of pressure out, which is exactly what you need for an airbrush. I go between 20 and 30 pounds per square inch PSI for a Paasche airbrush when I'm DuraCoating. We'll talk about that here in a minute. This is the emergency release valve, the safety valve, the regulator. This is your current pressure in the tank, and it came with this hose, and this hose is vital for the connection that I'm talking about. So Campbell Hausfeld, I can't really recommend this unless it's really on sale or it meets your airbrush needs. You'd probably want something bigger that you can use other tools with or use to inflate tires. 1 gallon, I mean, this thing is so small. Look at the size of my hand compared to this thing. It's like a bicycle helmet size compressor with this plastic housing on top. All right, and obviously there's going to be the pump encased in this housing as well. Little handle here. Read the manual. It's okay for what it is and for the price. Again, depending, if you get it on sale, more power to you. So let's talk about this connection here. These, I think, are technically considered a 1/4 inch NPT hose fitting. Even though if you compare it to my thumb, this is more than 1/2 inch thick. I measured this and it's a little bit more than 1/2 inch, which is crazy that they would consider that a 1/4 inch NPT fitting. You can see there is some Teflon, it looks like Teflon paste in there. You can use Teflon tape, but it was pre-applied, so I just used that. It's not leaking, and it hasn't leaked for me, so I haven't had a problem with that on both ends of this. This plastic hose came with it, and that's what you see screwing into this Paasche airbrush hose. Nice braided hose, much nicer hose than this plastic nonsense here. This is obnoxious. All right, so this is a hose I bought separate from my airbrush. It's 8 feet and it comes with this little moisture trap right here. This is the drain screw right here. And obviously you're gonna have your little attachment, which I think is more of a 1/4 inch adapter or a 1/4 inch fitting than the actual NPT one. But either way, this connects to your airbrush. So let me show you what we have here. This is what I used to do my DuraCoating with. That's why firearms people need airbrushes, DuraCoating, all sorts of goofy projects like that. So you can see there's the airbrush. This is the single action H, you can see here 2000 H kit, and it comes with just the usual stuff. It comes with 2 jars right here. Let me put those back in so you can see them. It comes with some hose. It didn't have the moisture trap, so I bought that separate. It comes with a hanger and the airbrush itself, which is more than adequate. So this is kind of the second review besides the Campbell Hausfeld. This works great for DuraCoat. It works for little projects. It's pretty inexpensive, under $60 with shipping. So the fitting was easy. I didn't need to buy anything. And that was one of my concerns. I had no idea if I would need something because I wanted to put this thing to use because it was just sitting around not doing anything. And you can watch me connect it right here to the airbrush. This just screws in like that. Pretty simple. And then you're good to go. However, Paasche recommends, and I always read owner's manuals, that you run this a little bit to blow any moisture or dust out. We can do that, and you can watch the regulator here. So I'm going to turn the PSI up to 20. I'm actually going to probably cover this with my finger so I can see exactly how much PSI I'm getting here. All right, there it goes. That's a little bit below 20. Normally I'd run it between 20 and 30, but you can hear the air coming out. You'll watch the pressure drop in there. So you can see blown out, nothing to worry about. I'm going to depress the valve here on the Paasche so I can screw it in while it's pressurized. I'm not sure if it's recommended that you do this, but I'll do it on the camera for you guys. All right, there you go. All right, now you're connected. And obviously with your product in here, your DuraCoat would be in there, you'd mix it. Don't do what I did and shake it because the DuraCoat will leak out of your air intake valve, your air intake hole right here, and just make a big mess. So obviously use your solid cap and swap it out when you shake up your DuraCoat. Obviously DuraCoat comes with the color, which in this case was Woodland Tan, Reducer, and Hardener. And then you attach it like this. Keep it more or less upright so that way your little intake straw right there will suck up your product. And then there you go. Then you can DuraCoat. Pretty simple system. The connection is easy with your common fittings. But again, remember the NPT fittings are really goofy. So as far as I know, and if you guys know more about it, I'm not huge into plumbing fittings for air compressors. I believe that's, as I understand it, as the guy at the shop told me, this is a 1/4 inch NPT fitting. And I'm not sure if I'm going to do a full review of that. Probably not. That's probably the half review. And the airbrush, same thing. I mean, it's plastic here, metal here. Doesn't look like the highest quality thing, but it gets the job done, and it's been ultra reliable. The nozzle is adjustable. I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see any of this, but the nozzle is adjustable, and it met my needs for DuraCoating. So relatively inexpensive setup here. All combined, I mean, with the compressor at $35, this running about $60 after shipping, for under $100, you can get into this setup with DuraCoat obviously adding extra cost. My name is Hobby John. You will see more of the firearms and firearms products like scope rings and stuff I DuraCoated in future videos. So subscribe, stay tuned. We're going to have lots of fun. So hope that helps somebody. It's just an interesting discussion. Thanks for watching.